All right. Welcome, everyone, to episode 64. I believe it's 64 of Fan Fuel. I am your interim host. Alex is actually on vacation. He just went to Disney World with his fiance. So I am filling in. Again, my name's Colton. I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. This is Nate right here beside me, as always. I don't know. This is kind of a lame weekend, Nate. Like, we didn't have a cup race.
Off weekend.
Yeah, kind of like in the summer lull right here.
Mm-hmm. I just watched F1 on Sunday. I watched the truck race on Saturday night, and that was it. There was nothing else.
Yeah, and I didn't watch F1. I watched the truck race Saturday night, and just kind of took it easy. Other than that, what have you been up to? You weren't on last week.
Yeah, honestly, I was studying for an anatomy exam. That's probably why I wasn't on. So, other than that, that's all I've been doing. I've just been studying and probably volunteering at a hospital this week, and that's about it.
Hell yeah. So truck race. What did you think of the truck race?
I didn't think it was that bad. I thought it was, a standard truck race on dirt, which is there's always eventful, but I didn't find it anything particularly bad or particularly good. I just thought that the broadcasting was so bad that was basically all I could focus on. Like, I was flipping between that and SRX, and every time I put the truck race on, I was like, man, this is terrible broadcast.
Yeah, so let's get into that, because that was a huge talking point on Twitter this last week, and even Facebook, which Facebook usually comments don't usually crap on the broadcast a ton, but Fox missed a flip. They missed Brett Moffitt riding the wall down the front stretch in front of the flag stand as soon as the race ended. As soon as Gilliland took the checkered flag, they went straight to commercial, missed the burnout, missed all the fireworks, everything. I don't even think they were at the track, which for one weekend, that the truck race is the only weekend, you would assume they would send some people out to the goddamn track.
They had like one reporter, didn't they?
Yeah, still have not acknowledged the flip. Like, NBC has acknowledged it.
I don't think they will.
I don't think they will.
They know that if they say anything now, it's too late, and they're going to get clowned.
Yeah.
They're just like, let's just ignore it. People forget about it.
Yeah. So if you didn't know, if you're listening to this, on Saturday, Fox cut to a camera angle of Jessica Friesen with her car on all four sitting on top of the berm at Knoxville. And we found out about, a half hour later maybe, that she actually flipped her truck over like a full rotation and landed in that spot. And there was no mention of it on the broadcast. And then, like I said, towards the coming to the checkered flag, Brett Moffitt was pinched into the wall and climbed the fence and then came back down on all four. Still no mention of that either.
No, that's just crazy. I think that at what point that they could have at least admitted that something happened. That's the least they could have done. Like, hey, just so you know, we found out she flipped.
Yeah,
not exactly. Just be like, oh yeah, nothing happened.
Yeah, just sticking to their guns. And I think we've said on here a couple times when we see terrible Fox broadcasts, like, I don't think they can do any worse.
They do worse.
They do worse, yeah. And I think this is an absolute new low.
It is. I mean,
like a complete garbage coverage of a race, which makes me excited that NBC is back.
Yes, this week at Nashville. I'm really excited for it. Hopefully I don't get to miss any of the race because I got a karting thing to do at, I think, 8 a.m., but I'm hoping it doesn't run all day. So I want to get home and watch that because I'm really excited for NBC. It's a proper post-race. That's my favorite thing. I'm not a big pre-race guy, but post-race stuff I'll sit down and watch. So
yeah,
we got camera angles now. We get replays, commercials that neither of them are good with commercials. So I'm just happy that we get like better coverage.
Yeah. And I mean, NBC isn't even good compared to what we used to have as NASCAR fans, but it is miles ahead of Fox.
Yeah.
And then you're not a pre-race guy. I am. I really like pre-race shows. The whole Fox pre-race thing is really
not
just
good.
put a bad taste in my mouth. So I'm excited to get back to NBC where they actually analyze things and talk about storylines and not guys dressed up as a watermelon seed.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan. I feel like part of the reasons I haven't watched pre-race a lot in the last couple of years is probably that. Like I think Fox sort of turned me off to where I'm like, okay, I don't need to watch pre-race. I'm just going to straight into the race.
Yeah.
But at least NBC does both. Like you get pre-race show, you get a post-race show.
Yeah, the whole nine. So Nashville. Sorry, I don't have any notes if y'all are watching
Yeah,
this.
yeah, we're
I'm
kind
literally
of just
just
going off
off the cuff.
things.
Yeah. Alex, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. I do not prepare like you do. So what are we looking forward to at Nashville before we get into the whole cooler heat index conversation?
Well, I'm looking forward to another big track for the next gen cars. I feel like it's going to be a good race because there's going to be multiple grooves because they said they're bringing the resin down in the same place they did last year, which I honestly thought made for good racing last year. I think there was a little bit of fuel mileage too toward the end of the race, so I'm looking forward to it. If they can have multiple grooves, it's already proven this car can race well as long as there's multiple grooves.
And I hope there's not. Last year we saw issues with the brake rotors. I haven't seen that at all with this next gen car, so I don't think it's going to be an issue. But I hope we don't have a massive tire issue.
Oh yeah, I'm
Like
a
they
little
were talking
scared.
about with the Gateway, because Nashville is a very rough surface, so I'm kind of iffy about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be a lot better. That's my hope. But we're what? We're about halfway in, and a lot of a mile and a half tracks we've had down. So I think
Yeah,
the teams will eventually learn what to do and what they can't do. So I feel like I've given Goodyear more leeway than I would have just because everything's new. But any other year, I'd probably be on Goodyear.
are you more looking forward to the Cup race and any of the storylines there, or the Xfinity race and the whole Ty Gibbs versus the field thing we got going?
Honestly, I do like Xfinity because I feel like it'll race better at that track. I don't know if you watched Xfinity there last year, but it was a super good race. Um, I think it's a little bit easier to race those cars in dirty air, and hopefully, if you don't know if there's going to be multiple grooves, that's always a help. I mean, those cars sometimes they make Texas look good, so
Right.
I'm excited for that. I don't know if I'll be able to watch it, but I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Now, you've seen the issue with the coolers that we have going into Nashville, right? So Nashville is not allowing any coolers. You can bring water in so long as it's sealed in a clear backpack with no loose ice. So you have to have an ice pack or a frozen towel or something along those lines. And then they did announce there's going to be water bottles for sale if you don't bring any in. In your clear backpack with no ice, they're going to be for sale for $4 a bottle.
Yeah,
What the
this is honestly, I understand that businesses need to make money, but this goes beyond that. And I know people are going to say, "Oh, but Daytona has rules and it's hot in Daytona," but it's like, well, they're not that strict. And
right?
it's literally a heat wave. It's 100 degrees. It's 101 degrees.
Yeah,
Like it's
yeah,
probably the hottest week of all summer so far. So,
right. The forecast is 96 Saturday, 95 Sunday with heat indexes. I mean, we're talking over 100, 102 sometimes degrees. There is a chance of thunderstorms, 40% chance of rain on Sunday. Does Nashville have lights? We need to get with Bob.
yes, they
They
do.
have lights. Are
Yeah,
they
because they
willing to
run.
run at night, do you think?
I would hope they run at night if it
Yeah,
rains because I think it'd be better for the fans at that point. I love day racing. I think day racing puts on a great show because it's hotter, it's slicker. But if it's 101 degrees, then I feel like the fans deserve a little rest.
right. Exactly. I mean, and you're talking about no canopies. There is one section of grandstand. There's not an upper deck like at Daytona, or at least you could duck under real quick. Yeah, there's a concourse, but I mean, you're straight in the heat, and we've seen people complaining all week about how hot it's been down there.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. There's no covers. The cooler rule. I think it's gonna be a bad time for some of the fans.
I am really hoping that we don't see any major incidents
Yeah.
with any fans passing out, having heat stroke, anything like that. Because that could turn from a fun day at the races to a really shitty situation here pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean, I was at a truck race at the Daytona Road Course a few years ago, and that was pretty hot. Like, this is probably the hottest race I've ever been to, but I can't imagine actually getting into the hundreds.
Yeah.
It's just,
And so, have you decided on Atlanta yet? Are you headed up to
um,
Atlanta?
I'm on the fence still, but I'm not. It's not looking likely at this point. Just because
Because
I feel like I'd rather save the money and go to a race that has like practice days and all that stuff,
that's fair.
and plus, schoolwork and all that.
Yeah. So Atlanta is. I don't know what the forecast is looking like. It's still a little far out, but July
Probably
10th.
pretty hot if it's a day
It
race.
was 95 a couple days ago when I checked with a heat index of 110, which is fucking hot. But at least Atlanta allows you to bring in coolers and ice and things like that, where you can cool yourself off and not have to buy. Like, think about it. Like, if you're sitting in, say, 95 degrees, how many bottles of water do you think you have to drink in a 3-hour period?
You probably have to drink
8?
5 to 10, maybe.
Yeah. Times $4, you're talking about upwards of $40 you're spending just on water that you have to have so you don't pass out. This is fucking ridiculous, Nashville.
I don't know. It's sad. Like, it's just sad. That's just straight price gouging. I mean, it's unfair.
Yeah, it's
exploitation at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Exploitation, I feel like, is a better word, because you're having people that sign up that want to go to this, but you're saying, hey, if you come to this, you have to buy our shit or else you're gonna fucking die.
Yes, when you put it that way, it's a lot different. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't agree with.
Like
it's hard.
When I first saw it, I read it as like you could bring in a soft-sided cooler and you just couldn't bring like a fucking bag of ice, And then I read it again. I was like, oh, this is terrible. Like, essentially a drawstring backpack or a souvenir bag that's clear with no ice.
It's not going to keep your water cool.
Yeah, you can bring in an ice pack. Like, I don't know what good that's going to do because that's just going to fucking melt.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think after this weekend, we're probably going to be proven right. I think everybody who had a complaint will be proven right.
Yeah.
It's going to be brutal, and I think that there's going to be like heat stroke issues for sure.
Yeah, if there's one weekend that I kind of hope it rains, it's probably this next Sunday, just so it kind of cools everything off a little bit, at least gets it wet, and then delays the race time. So it's not a 2 p.m. race, it's a 5 p.m. race,
Yeah, I think it's brutal. I mean, the Xfinity race will probably be worse, like you said, because it's earlier in the day.
Earlier in the day and no chance of rain. 96 degrees. Yeah. And then not even talking about drivers. We saw when it was, in the low 90s at Kansas, drivers were getting out and having issues with overheating, and they had cool suits on.
Yeah. I mean,
so I can't imagine what it's going to be like this next weekend.
It's going to be bad. I think every driver will have a cool suit. And I mean, you see drivers, I think like Bubba a couple of years ago, like passed out after Atlanta.
Yeah.
And that was pretty warm, but it wasn't like heat wave warm. So
yeah,
I think you're going to see drivers after the race. They're going to be like dead. I mean, they're going to be completely dead.
Yeah. Yeah. And you mentioned the cool suits. I think you have to have a cool suit if you're going to race this weekend. This is beyond, like, I hear a lot of people talk a lot about, like, oh, back in the 70s. Yeah. They also had twice the amount of air moving through the car in the 70s.
They also weren't, they were wearing like they were wearing a suit with, they might not even wear anything under that suit.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. With, nice padded seats that you could put an ice pack in and it wouldn't boil.
Yeah. I don't know. It's rough. I mean, I think the air hoses are going to help them a lot. So I just feel, because sometimes those systems break. So what are you going to do when it breaks?
Right. Yeah. Are you just going to pretty much forcefully retire from the race?
Oh man, I don't think drivers are going to do that. They're just going to suffer afterwards.
Yeah,
knowing
really
what they do, they'll just drive and they suffer afterwards.
We do have. I am waiting on a message back here from Cody Powers. I guess he is just about to his house. He's going to hop on and breathe a little bit of life into us because I am not prepared.
We're kind of we're just going off the top of our heads.
Yeah, Nate's not as outgoing until you get him going, and so
so I feel like the number one thing that'll get me going is probably the Road America talk, schedule talk.
Okay, so hit on that because we were speculating on that before. Chicago street course. Yay or nay?
It's a nay. I feel like this whole street course thing with racing is going to get unsustainable soon. I mean, the tracks suck, most of them. I understand, F1's going to Miami, F1's going to Vegas. They want to put another street circuit in France and take away, purpose-built tracks, and like Spa, for example. That's like a holy grail track. That's like if NASCAR took Darlington away for Chicago Street. It's just, it's crazy. I feel like this whole boom is getting a little bit out of hand, and I don't see the need for one, to be honest.
We are going to add Cody to this conversation real quick and see what he thinks. We'll get to your weekend here in just a minute. Cody, are you pro or con a street course, Chicago street course?
I am a heavy advocate for street courses.
Oh, I already know it's going to be a fun debate between us.
Why?
Why do I want them?
Why? I mean, do you think it's going to be a good race?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, obviously, I don't think that you need to expect like a whole lot of passing on a street course by any means. I think you're naive if you have any form of like motorsports knowledge outside of just like stock car racing. On street courses, there's not a lot of passing in any of the series, right? Like it's just, and these cars are wet. A NASCAR Cup car is so much bigger than like a Formula One or an Indy car, right? I mean, they're huge. So like, you're not going to be able to squeeze in a Cup car the way that you could potentially squeeze in an Indy car, but also it's just a part of the racing itself, right? It puts more emphasis onto the importance of qualifying, which I feel like we've lost that as NASCAR fans. We don't care about qualifying anymore because we know a guy, if they, Nate, big Denny guy, when Denny gets dropped to the back pre-race, are you even like nervous whatsoever?
No, I'm not. I'm like, okay, he'll be in the top 20 in 10 laps. He'll be in the top 10 in 40 laps. That's it.
Right. Who's your favorite like open wheel racer?
Oh, Alonso. So
okay,
I've experienced the pain of starting in the back quite a bit.
Right. Yeah, and it's just like if you start from the back in F1,
it's a rough time. Yeah.
Yeah, your day is already done. Like you're fighting for like P13.
You can get points maybe if you're lucky, but you're not going
to
drive up to the top 5 or something.
Right. Unless just something wild happens, which is cool. Right. And, it's happened before. But I think with a street course, you know what you're getting. I just think for like the marketability around it, I think that's like the biggest pull for me. Because I think it would be really cool. If NASCAR shut down downtown Chicago for a race, so many eyes are going to be on the sport.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of like the marketing side. I just don't think we need to lose like Road America for it. Like I think if we could take away Texas for that, like I'd be all for it. But
I don't think Road America is the one that would.
I'm getting kind of worried for Road America. Like I've had a bad feeling about it, and it's just something keeps telling me it's going to be gone as much as I don't want it to be gone.
So I think if Road America has the same level of success that it had last season, I think Road America is safe for a very long time because there were there were over 100,000 fans throughout the weekend. That's a big turnout of fans for NASCAR. Yeah. I mean, for real, any sport. I mean, just how often is there a sport that pulls in 100,000+ fans?
There's not many. I don't think NASCAR fans kind of understand that. I mean, I know that we might not have 300,000 people at a race these days, but over a full weekend, that's quite a bit. And I don't think we understand how much people that is versus, say, an MLB game.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, most of your MLB games on up until crunch time, they're like 10% capacity. So.
They're over 10%. 10% is like 3,000 fans. But I get what you're saying. Like, people.
Have you ever seen like a 3 p.m. like Wednesday game though? Like it's empty.
Yeah, well, there's still at least 10,000 people there at most stadiums. I mean, other than the Oakland Athletics and Tampa Bay Rays. But I get what you're saying that, like, people, when they gauge viewership and, like, attendance, they see a stadium and try to see how many empty seats there are. Whereas, like, a baseball stadium could have 30,000 people and it looks fucking packed. But, like, Bristol could have 30,000 people and they aren't even sitting in the turns. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's still
they're so like the grandstands on these 1.5 miles especially are huge because in the 90s you saw how they built them. Like they put like 200,000 seats at Texas. They probably had quite a bit at Charlotte too, and they sort of took some of those out. They used to have seats that went all the way around like to the exit of turn 2.
Yeah,
and it's like thinking about it, it's like, man, that many people used to go to race.
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing because like they built all of this like during just the absolute peak. and they just didn't have any like preparedness for what would happen. Like maybe if the trend did go down a little bit, and that's why we've had.
I think F1 will have
stadiums.
that now too.
Yeah, and for sure. I mean, over time, I think F1's still like trending upward though. Like I don't think F1 is anywhere near its peak yet. We're probably like in our lifetimes, we might not see like the decline of F1, which is exciting.
I feel like I think we're gonna get the absolute peak maybe 5 years, and then afterwards we might see like a little bit of downturn, and then it kind of just goes up and down. I don't think it's gonna like hit rock bottom like NASCAR is at one point. I think it'll be kind of like where NASCAR is right now. It'll be, it won't be where it once was, but it'll still be like fairly healthy.
Yeah, and I'm overall like viewership, attendance, sponsorship money. I think NASCAR is in its best position that it's ever been in, money wise. I mean, the
Hopefully,
90s were great. Don't get me wrong, but you look at the purses back then compared to like the purse that they just put out for this weekend, $8 million in the Cup, dude. That's an astronomical purse.
Yeah. Are you going to? Speaking of this weekend, you going to Nashville? No,
I'm actually
die in the grandstands.
Do what?
You don't want to die in the grandstands?
No, I mean I just did that all weekend. I was in Middle Tennessee for Bonnaroo. I'm still there technically, I guess. But get back, my fiance tests positive for COVID, so I'm quarantined right now too. Kind of just caretaking and either like waiting for it to get me next, or hopefully like I beat it. But yeah, I would not feel like a good guy like going to Nashville this weekend, potentially just like being the super spreader.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Before you hopped on, we discussed the cooler policy or the lack thereof this weekend.
It's a little confusing to me, considering now that it is in a Speedway Motorsports track. Every other Speedway Motorsports track allows coolers, right? I know Texas had their fiasco last year, whatnot. Yeah. But dude, I could tell you, I was there last year for the inaugural Nashville race. They ran out of water.
Yeah.
They ran out of beer. And all of this was like before stage 2. I mean, they had like more expensive beers, but like they were doing like a Busch Light special where they were like $4 a can. They ran out of those immediately. So then you're having to buy the $9-10 beers. But the problem is they ran out of water. And I just think you're not going to allow people to bring in water. Like that cannot be an issue. And personally, I think if you're going to limit people from bringing in coolers, or if you just don't want people to bring in alcohol, open up the coolers. And if there's alcohol in there, just tell the people you can't take it. If it's water, if you are preventing people from bringing in water and you're wanting to profit on water, I automatically despise you.
Same.
Yeah.
The biggest, so they'll allow you to bring in water in like a clear bag. Like
yeah, you got to carry it in, and that stuff is hot in 15 minutes.
Yeah. No ice. You can't put ice in there. You can do an ice pack, which is good for all of 5 minutes.
Yeah, 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like I put those things in my lunchbox when I was in school, and they were cold or they were hot in my lunchbox by lunchtime.
Yeah,
in Wyoming.
And like Middle Tennessee this time of year is rough. It is humid. It is hot. There's no wind blowing ever. Like it is just a rough time. So yeah, to not allow water, I mean, they allow it, but I'm not carrying in a backpack full of warm water.
Right. Yeah. No. Like at what point is water fucking gross?
Yeah. It's when it's like lukewarm.
Yeah. If I'm hot, I don't want hot water.
Yeah.
Like I get it'll hydrate me, but
I'm a room temperature water guy. Like when I'm at home. But if I'm out in public or like I'm doing something, I would much rather have like cold water.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially when it's hot as shit out.
Yeah.
So speaking of hot as shit, you went to Bonnaroo this last weekend. How was that? Because I know you go every year.
Yep. So this was I keep saying it's my 7th straight year. 2020 got canceled because of COVID. 2021, Hurricane Ida actually flooded out the farm. So they had to cancel the festival. So I got to go back, continue the streak. Honestly, like it gets a crazy rap. You know, when you think Bonnaroo, you probably think like people are just like messed up on drugs, like screaming into the wild. And you're correct. Like that's exactly what it is. But it's beautiful the whole time. Like there's no like violence. I've still yet to see a fight at Bonnaroo. Nobody's there to have a bad time. It's genuinely like the slogan for the festival is radiate positivity. That's the way it is all weekend long. I was a little disappointed because they threw some last minute like rules and stipulations in. Used to, you just pulled up to the festival in between Wednesday or Sunday and you got to go in. Like there's a thorough search and that sort of thing. This year they changed it to where you had to like buy your entry by the day. So like you could go in Tuesday, you could go in Wednesday, you could go in Thursday. You just had to buy it, which sucks based on the fact that everybody pays the same price. So like we didn't get to go in Tuesday, we didn't get to go in Wednesday. We had to wait till Thursday. So these people who paid the same amount of us got to go in 2 days before. Not that anything's going on. It's just like the campgrounds are a lot of fun.
Yeah, the hangout.
Yeah. Like when you think like Talladega Boulevard, that's the Bonnaroo campgrounds times 1,000. Like I was not impressed with the Boulevard because of what I've like seen at the campgrounds at Bonnaroo. Like it's a genuine party. So, that kind of sucked. But once I got there, put all of that to the side, it was incredible. Saw Stevie Nicks, which was pretty cool. Alison Krauss and Robert Plant, which was pretty cool. I mean, Robert Plant, Led Zeppelin, Alison Krauss is a legend. J. Cole, incredible. Denzel Curry, Zach Bryan. Colton, I feel like you're a Zach Bryan guy just by default. Just Wait, what kind of music do you listen to?
I mean, he's all right. I'm not like a worshiper. Like I play all the songs. Like a couple of his songs are catchy.
Okay. It's that thing where I told you look like you're just from like Tennessee. So by default.
Yeah. No, I get why people like him. It's just like the same reason I don't like Luke Combs. It's just like he's got good songs, but like I'm just not that into it.
I got you. Okay. So I'm going to hijack for a second because I want to ask you guys. We're on the topic of a music festival. Give me your dream music festival lineup, the top 3 names. Like who would make you buy a ticket and say, I got to go?
Nate, you have an idea?
Oh, man. Let's see. I haven't really been in music lately because I haven't been in the gym very much.
It can be anybody.
Should be in the gym a little bit more.
Elton John has came. Billy Joel has came. It could be any iconic name.
Like I've honestly...
Does it have to be music?
Honestly,
Ideally,
Drake.
yeah.
Like I was into Drake last year, so that was a big thing for me. That was probably in my workout playlist, made up like 6 or 7 songs. Let's say like a top 50 list. So he's definitely the number 1. Number 2, it kind of changes. It depends. I always listen to recommended feed on Spotify. So
okay.
Rod Wave was up there. I think we had a guest on here recommend that. It was Raja Karuth. Like he is a huge Rod Wave fan.
Big Rod guy?
Yeah, he is a huge fan. So ever since he mentioned that, like I've started putting that on the playlist. And I was like, this is pretty good. So I feel like right now he's probably somewhere in 2nd and 3rd. And I can't even pick a 3rd at this point. So it all depends. Like most time, like my music consumption comes in the gym. And as of late, I've been like multitasking. I've been listening to lectures while I'm in the gym. So it depends.
Bro, don't do this to yourself, homie. don't do this.
Yeah, but it's either that or I don't sleep. So it's like
that's fair. Yeah, you got to find that middle ground. Before Colton goes on the Drake topic, I used to be a really big Drake fan when I was younger, and I'm talking like 10 plus years ago. You're probably not even old enough to remember 10 years ago.
No, I'm not.
Like his last few albums, I've despised, but the album that he just dropped is probably his best album since Nothing Was the Same. Like it's a whole house album. It's incredible.
So I don't listen to Drake, so can't relate.
I didn't until this album.
Fair. To answer your question, I think my top lineup would be Garth Brooks because he came to Cheyenne last year, and our stadium holds like I don't know, 20 or 30,000 people maybe. And it was packed the F out. I think there's close to 50,000 people there. So I've always wanted to see him. I stood in Frontier Park and listened to him, but I wasn't actually in the stadium. I was just outside the stadium in the carnival. And we actually found a beer tent that right to the right of the beer tent, you could see the screen and watch the concert. So it was cool. So I stood, I don't know, maybe 300 yards away from Garth while he performed, but I didn't get to see him. So I do want to go see him live at some point, preferably close up. I'd like to see Co Wetzel for the absolute fucking party that dude brings. I have 4.
That's fine.
I'd also want to see Morgan Wallen just for the absolute fucking party that guy brings.
Okay.
Not a massive fan of his music, but I respect him as a songwriter. His concerts seem lit. And then my all-time favorite band, I would like to see perform live. Never once seen them. They're going to retire here soon. It is a band named Bowling for Soup.
Oh, dude, 1985. Let's go.
Nah, that song sucks ass. Don't bring that one.
No, it does not.
That song blows.
This song is an incredible
They
part
didn't
of
even
my
write
childhood.
that song. They didn't even write it.
And then they also they did the Sky High theme
The Sky
song.
High, yeah.
Yeah,
They
the
sang the Phineas
soundtrack.
and Ferb theme song.
Yep.
Yeah, they are my all-time favorite band. They actually just released a new album, which I was fucking stoked for. They actually have Morgan Freeman narrating an intermission segment in there.
Really? That's pretty sick, actually.
My all-time favorite band, for a cowboy that lives out in Wyoming, is Bowling for Soup, that writes songs about wieners and pizza and shit like that.
That's the dream.
So, what did you watch the truck race? I'd assume not, because you were kind of.
Oh yeah, well, you probably missed out for the better just because the broadcast was that bad.
That's what so my papaw, he's like the driving factor behind me being a NASCAR fan at the end of the day. So when I got back, I was talking to him about it, and he was like, you couldn't see anything.
Yeah.
He called it the black race, and I was like, what does that mean? He's like, that's just all you could see. It's just black.
Yeah, they did follow the leader for 90% of the race. They missed a flip. And Brett Moffitt almost flipping. Didn't even mention it.
Did he almost flip the same way she did?
He climbed the wall.
He kind of
and landed. Yeah, it's fucking horrible. And then as soon as Gilliland took the checkered flag, they cut to commercial. So we didn't get to see. We saw it on side by side, the burnout and the fireworks.
Oh, nice.
Celebration.
Heck yeah,
it was sick. Yeah,
dude, nothing like hearing that Mountain of Bush Light beer song while someone's just burning her down.
Yeah, I posted on Twitter, but I feel bad for Marcus Lemonis.
Yeah, he was liking tweets about that.
Yeah, I do not think that Camping World is going to sponsor the Truck Series much longer. I don't know when their contract ends. I can't see him renewing it. He has dumped so much money into the series, and it gets treated like a fucking joke.
Obviously, Xfinity's putting in a ridiculous amount of money, across the board. But Camping World, they're the last remaining true third-party sponsor, because Xfinity and NASCAR are just so intertwined now, right?
Yeah.
And then in the Cup Series, that's the NASCAR Cup Series. So I would imagine that that's why we've lost a lot of the pillar sponsors, is due to, the amount of commercials are getting absolutely insane. And I get, I fully comprehend the money. That is where the money is made. And I fully comprehend that. I was expecting Coke to swoop in and cover a commercial-free race for the Coke 600.
Please, man.
Dude, do you know how incredible that would be?
Yeah.
We need it, man.
At least, now you put that thought into my head. I would love to see that for the Daytona race.
Yeah. That'd be cool. But who would sponsor that one? Are you talking about the summer race?
The summer race, yeah.
Yeah, they could totally do that.
500 would be awesome. You could, NASCAR could probably pay for that, as much money as they bring in for it.
Yeah.
Man, now you just planted that in my head. That's a good fucking idea, Cody. You're one far.
I stole it from Formula One. Ultimately, everything's commercial free.
It's so nice because when I was watching F1 as a little kid, we didn't have that. We had NBC and we had Speed Channel. Those were our two providers at some point, and none of those did commercial-free races. Mm-mm. So when ESPN comes in, they decide, oh yeah, we got a sponsor that's going to pay for literally every race to be commercial-free. I'm like, this is something that I've never looked back from. I never knew this was possible.
Well, and think about there's a lot of money that comes in sponsorship wise into NASCAR from the big four, the Geico, Busch, Coke, and Sunoco. That's a lot of money coming in, and Xfinity too.
Yeah,
they totally could offset the need for commercials by using that money, and that's going to make those sponsors look incredible.
Yeah,
and that is going to give then we can start naming, because I hate the fact that I have to watch a commercial and then we also sponsor a green flag. Or this it's frustrating, and it's so NASCAR is a corporate sport. It always has been. Right. That's where the money comes from. But if we could limit it and just funnel that into one specific area, it would be incredible. Sponsor pit road, sponsor all the cameras, this or that, because I didn't have to just watch 15 minutes of commercial. So I'm not going to be as bitter about it.
Like I'm not gonna watch the same Kroger commercial over and over and over and over again. You know.
And I think I've lucked out.
Liberty.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, that's even
last
worse.
year, I lucked out being able to go to so many races because it did not bother me as much because I didn't get to see the commercials as much as I have this year. And already I'm like, oh man, I can only imagine. Like, I don't think NBC will do any better in that regard.
No.
Honestly, I would say USA is probably going to be even worse.
I hope not, but I'm a little bit scared.
But so we were talking about this earlier too, is like NBC isn't any better on the commercials. Like all the tweets I did, like following the race and how many laps were in a commercial, like it's anywhere from 25 to like 33% of a race we miss due to commercials. But NBC's coverage absolutely makes up for it in the fact that they don't have huge bits of dead time in the air, and they do more play-by-play, even though they kind of don't. But
I agree. Yes. I think that Junior and Letarte are incredible together. I'll be honest, I could see Burton go away and like not bat an eye. I'm not gonna be mad about that.
Like I don't think he's bad, but I don't really think he's like that good either.
Yeah,
like,
I'm never like
he's just an extra person.
Yeah, I'm never like let's go Jeff.
Yeah,
he's kind of just another voice. Like whenever they get all crazy at the end of the race and they're like all screaming, you can't really tell which one's him. Like they're all just
right. Yeah, well, I think him and Junior sound a lot alike when they're both really yelling. Yeah, they're like the same human. Shout out Joe.
Man, what a question.
So,
probably Brad.
Nah, maybe.
I mean, I could see the Keselowski comment though. I mean, he's got like dad energy. I mean, that's the one way I could describe him.
Keselowski, yeah, maybe. So for
BJ McLeod.
Yeah, if anyone listens, the question is which driver farts the most while driving? Thanks, Joe Retro. Okay, past drivers, Tony Stewart, hands down.
No, without a doubt.
Well,
yeah.
He's just ripping some.
Like, there's already like documented examples of more. So,
well, I mean, yeah, he's sharded a couple times.
He still won a race, so it's.
Yep.
You think BJ McLeod?
Oh, dude, absolutely.
Man.
I like Jimmy Spencer. That's a good answer.
Jimmy Spencer. That's another really good one.
Good.
Okay, so beer farts, right? Which driver do you think drinks the most beer? Are we talking Cup? Because Xfinity, Noah Gragson got that one hand down.
Yeah.
I know Noah
He's a seltzer guy.
Even that, like, you still get some toots.
I think so. Now, across all the series, though, like, if we're opening it up.
We don't have, like, a Clint Boyer anymore, so it's getting a little bit tougher to answer this question.
Mike Harmon's a good one, yeah.
Yeah.
Jennifer Jo Cobb. I bet she slams them down, bro.
Are we still talking about the beers or the farts?
Yeah, I was like, I was a little confused here.
Well, you said beer farts, so that's where I'm at.
We gotta figure out which one
drinks the night before a race, because I know Noah does.
I mean, she probably doesn't drink too much before the race because she doesn't race often. So it's not like she's got many opportunities to drink. So then again, when she does climb into the truck, she might just be like absolutely hammering it.
That's fair. That is a good question. I've never thought about which driver farts the most.
Can we bring up that one comment? Yeah.
What? Yeah, this is quite the night.
Off topip, but when I can't,
like they're like FBI. There's like places for people like him.
Yeah, so I'm not allowed by Cheyenne to eat Burger King more than like twice a year because of that reason.
Really? Like it's like forbidden?
Yeah, like if I say, "Hey, can we go eat Burger King?" It is a flat no.
No, like you could see the fear in her face.
Yeah, it is bad. Like, have you ever had a fart that smelled so bad you had to take a second whiff just to verify that it smelled bad?
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, so it's like that, like for a solid 4 days.
That's rough. Just is it like a specific meal that you get, or is it just like anything from Burger King?
Pretty much anything from Burger King, but I think it's their onion rings.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't know many people that are just like a regular devourer of Burger King onion rings.
I would love to be. To be honest.
I mean, honestly, dude, we only like get one trip around this whole rock. You know, you might as well just eat all the onion rings you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You might have to do it lonely for the rest of the time, but
Yeah. Oh, man. So I did post a tweet earlier that I did hear. So the plan was I was going to take my dad to the fall Kansas race next year. And there was like some schedule rumors going around, and it was on Facebook. One guy commented, he goes, "Hey, I just want to let you know I'm a season ticket holder of Kansas Motor Speedway, and I just went to renew, and they said there's going to be no fall date. There's going to be one race on July 8th, which would essentially make it the July 4th race. And they're going to be racing at Chicagoland instead of 2 Kansas dates because they don't want to bog the Midwest down with races." Big if true. Obviously,
Yeah, that'd be big.
the date part sounds fairly set because if it's a season ticket holder telling me that, I did look at the guy's profile, and he lives right outside of Kansas City in Overland Park, so he fits the build. The Chicago part is definitely a rumor, but, I mean, tying in with the street course, it is sounding more true. What are your thoughts on possibly a July 4th weekend race at Kansas? Yay or nay, Nate?
I'm nay. Like, I feel like it needs to be a destination place for July 4th. Like, maybe go to like Road America because it's a small
You're telling
town.
me
It's on
that
a
Road
lake.
America is a fucking destination over Kansas?
Yeah, it's over Kansas. Yeah, you got like a beautiful lake. You got nature preserves. I mean, it's a nice area. I don't think of Kansas City as a nice area.
Kansas,
the part
it's
of
like-
Road America though is like a summer vacation like retreat.
Yes,
That's fair.
that's my thought, and I feel like Daytona was probably the best place for that because it was people go to beaches
Yeah.
for 4th of July. I mean, it's a beach. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know why they got rid of that. I don't necessarily like that decision, but it is what it is.
I think it'd be cool.
I think so. I pulled up my calendar while you were saying all of this. I totally think that we're still probably gonna race at Road America
Please,
like the 1st or 2nd, right?
Yeah.
Like I still
can
feel
hope,
like that's
yeah.
gonna happen. And I feel like to run it back to back, like those 2 tracks aren't too far apart from each other. Teams can bring more than enough because going from an oval to a road course, obviously different cars, right? They're not going to be using the same car. There's no like danger of overlapping or anything like that. I think it's just going to be one of those like logistical nightmares for the most part. But we ran the Clash, Daytona, California, like in a 4-week span. So I don't think that it's out of the question to think that we couldn't do something similar to that in a week span. And like it sucks for the drivers, and I hate to sound like a jerk when I say this, but also like, why do we care? Like those guys, like it. I hate sounding awful with it, but like, what does it matter if they got to drive a little bit more, right? Because I mean, like, I'm not paying the bill. Like I don't sign the paychecks or anything like that. Like,
Let's just fucking send them to Alaska. Screw it.
dude, honestly, an Alaskan ice race would be incredible.
I'm done putting ideas in your head. I think
yeah,
what you said is true. I think they could absolutely do both back to back. To me, a July 4th race just screams night race. Like everywhere across the country, they're
yes, I
celebrating
miss
July
it at
4th.
Daytona. Like, that's for
Fireworks,
sure.
the races at night. 2 solo cups. It's water. It's not beer. I quit drinking on the broadcast because I get sloppy and I stop paying attention to where we're talking about.
I just have this like little. Oh, you can't even see it.
It's green screened out.
Yeah, this little glass of Jack Daniels that I've just been hammering away at. So
Yeah, I can't do that on the broadcast. But when we go down to Atlanta, I'll out drink all you motherfuckers. But yeah, night race. I mean, it just fits July 4th. Cody, why are you giggling?
I've yet to meet somebody who could. So I take that as a challenge right off the
So
bat.
here is my reasoning for it. What's y'all's elevation?
Where I live right now,
1,000 feet.
I think I'm pretty high. Hold on, let me do my handy dandy Snapchat, and it'll have my 1,300 feet is my elevation.
Okay, so have you ever drank somewhere really high up? Because I'm over 6,000 feet. Because it fucks with you.
I'm not sure because like I've never like measured my elevation when I drink.
Okay, so if you ever go to the Rocky Mountain area, right, go to Denver, Mile High, you can drink far less beers. So when I went down to Talladega, what would 3 or 4 beers give me a buzz. Took 7, 8, 9 beers down there.
Mm-hmm.
I have been up here consistently for years now, drinking 12. Like my buddy and I cashed a 30 rack of fucking Busch Light a couple weekends ago between the two of us, and we weren't even bad. So fucking bring it.
I think me and you, yeah. Everybody else would be slumped. I think me and you
Yeah.
would like be the last two.
We could keep pace. Like Cheyenne and I were even talking about like we need to start like it's gonna be terrible for our liver, but we're gonna start drinking heavier these next couple weekends, like kick the tolerance up, just so we can go spend like 80 fucking bucks a night on beer. I don't know why.
I mean, Nate gets it now when I say this, YOLO. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Big Drake guy.
Yeah. Yeah. What am I? Oh, I never.
Nate, is that a Kimmy hat? Because I thought it was a Hardy's hat.
No, it's an Alonzo hat. Like, come
Oh.
on. Are you
I just
uncultured?
thought-
Are
Are
you
you
saying
uncultured?
Hardy?
I am. Like,
Come on.
is that your new one that you just ordered?
Yeah. It's like,
How much?
wow,
that cost?
it cost me like $30.
Oh, that's not bad.
No, I got it on sale somewhere. So I've wanted this hat since like 2018, but
Pour one out for Joey.
Him and his Rolling Rock.
Dude, $1. Do you all have Mellow Mushroom out there?
No.
Okay, so it's like this hippie pizza place, and on Mondays they do $1 Rolling Rocks. Like however many Rolling Rocks you want, they're $1 a piece. And I used to hammer those away, buddy. Let me tell you, I'd take me a nice crisp $10 bill and set it down.
And just pile it on.
Dude, yeah, just slam me down some Rolling Rocks. It's worth $1 at least. So
Probably right about $1. We used to have there's a bar in town called the Pepper Mill, and they have a bunch of pool tables, and they used to do dollar beer nights on Thursdays. And so my buddy and I would go in like a Thursday night. We'd both work Friday, and we'd be like, all right, well, we're going to go play a couple games of pool. And this happened every single weekend. Play a couple games of pool, have like 2, maybe 3 beers, call it good. And then come 2 a.m., we're closing down the club down the road, like fucking ringing in our ears. We just played cornhole for like 2 hours. We're smashed. Oh, it's terrible decisions every week.
but it was worth it.
Most weeks.
Yeah.
There were definitely some really late mornings getting into work.
Yeah, I mean that's a part of it. Like if you're gonna dedicate yourself to like the drinking lifestyle,
You got to
don't.
commit.
Yeah, you can't be a bitch about it like the next day. Like you got to suck it up. You made those decisions last night.
So no one else on this podcast like drinks regularly or heavily like I do. So Nate and Alex can't relate.
They just
Sorry,
walk
Nate.
out at the start.
Nate's also 20. So
Right. Yeah. Wait, do you turn 21 this year or next year?
not until next.
Okay. You'll get there. It's overrated. I tell everybody drinking, like it sounds fun and it's incredible before you turn 21. Once you turn 21, it actually just becomes like an annoyance because you're like, man, I got to drink.
Yeah. I actually met Cheyenne at the Pepper Mill. It was a Wednesday night, actually. And I remember it was a Wednesday because it was January 6th of 2021.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was how you remember that.
Yeah, weird. I remember like all that, reading all that shit at work, and like, damn, like holy, like I need to go get a beer. Like this is crazy.
Yeah.
Hung out with my buddy, and then met Cheyenne there, and then we all left and got in a car wreck and flipped the car. It was cool.
Like you met her there, like for the first time.
We were first time.
Okay.
We've
I
been
didn't know if
talking
you were like, yeah, we met up there or whatever.
Yeah, no, like me and my buddy were actually about to leave the bar, and then I saw her and her now I know roommate, but buddy up there. Drunk girls all walk around. I'll talk to my buddy. I was like, hey, let's go talk to these girls for a minute. And then started talking to Cheyenne. We weren't talking for maybe an hour. And I was like, all right, well, I have to work at 5 a.m. It's like 10:30. And, let me take you home, things like that. My buddy was driving. Yeah. And then we ended up hitting a curb at like 70, a block away from the bar.
Nice.
Yeah. Flipped the car, smoked a tree. It was cool.
You actually flipped the car?
I believe so. So we don't have any witnesses to it. But the way that we hit and the way that we flew through the air and took branches off of trees, I think we did.
Was there any damage on like the top, or did it like barrel roll?
Not sure. So there were scratches on like the hood rails, on like the door rails and stuff, but not on the actual roof of the car.
Dude, if that doesn't solidify love like right off the bat, I don't know what would.
Yeah, my buddy was knocked out in the driver's seat. It was a blast. Yeah, had to go pick
Shout
him up
out
from jail.
the Pepper Mill one time.
Yeah, they need to sponsor us because I spent a lot of money there.
That's so. Whenever you get married, I think you should do the Pepper Mill wedding.
We like at least reception, right?
Yeah. Some like it's got to be something. Yeah,
Buy out the bar for a night.
yeah, that'd be perfect.
That's a good idea. So
I'm
we went
full of
to Phoenix in October for her grandmother's funeral and the reception. Her grandpa just bought this Mexican restaurant for a day. So we got catered all this food and free beer and shit. Yeah, it was awesome.
Mexican restaurant.
Mhm.
See, I'm not big on authentic Mexican cuisine. Like the deepest I get into like Mexican food is going to be Taco Bell.
Oh man, you were missing out.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Oh man,
I don't think so.
you were really missing out. Nate, can you read this comment?
No, I don't agree with
I
that.
think
at all. Like,
no, Nate has to address it.
Like, no, that's just wrong. Like, that's
Wow.
wrong. I mean, it's wrong. Like, you got to appreciate all forms of motorsports, man. Like, even if you don't like them, you got to appreciate them. Like, I don't watch, let's just say MotoGP, for example. Like, I'm not going to say MotoGP sucks because I don't watch it. Like, I'm not going to be that guy. Like, don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. Like, we're trying to, like, racing needs to be, we need to build the sport up, you know? Like, we're not trying to compete against one another.
Who is this guy?
Joe, so he is one of our loyal people. Joe keeps our comments rolling throughout the night. Big Brad Keselowski guy. Biggest Brad Keselowski fan you'll ever meet. I promise.
So that explains the farts.
Yeah. That's my fiance there. I will not. No. Dude, if I do not know every single ingredient, so like let's just say I came over to your house and you're like, hey dude, I made this food. You're like, try it. I'm gonna ask you to list me every single ingredient that's in it before I'll even put it near my mouth.
Do I have to say the Spanish name for it, or can I be like, hey, this is pork?
If it's pork, then yeah, like leave it at that. But if you're like, yeah, this is pork, I put some like fettuccine, there's a little bit of ricotta in there. I'm like,
Dude,
no,
what the
just stop
fuck
where
is-
you're at. Just stop.
Oh man, you uncultured.
No, here he goes again. Yeah, here he goes again. Yep. I don't know. I'm this guy, man. Respected as much as Swanbug. See, this guy gets it right here. Like, he respects it.
Drew's cool as shit. He won a Craftsman sweepstakes, so Craftsman is paying for tickets to him.
He is the biggest Christopher Bell fan on earth.
Yeah,
Dude, that's
he
incredible.
Every Christopher Bell race and posts about it. It is.
Dude,
I mean,
he
if you
is
ever want Christopher
literally
Bell
the biggest Christopher Bell fan on earth.
So that's the Dalton Good of Christopher Bell's.
Yes.
He has like a bell outside his house, and every time Bell wins, he like rings his bell.
Well, he doesn't have to ring it too often, does he?
It's the Christopher.
Now
Bell.
that he's in Cup, yeah. But
and he's going to Nashville this weekend, so he's going to give us a little bit of update.
What's good, Junior?
yeah, exactly.
Nate Gang.
Yeah, I have
yeah.
persuasive powers. So, I mean, I had a friend that like did not watch F1 for the longest time. Like, I told him, I'm like, man, you should just watch it. Like, it's not that bad, you know? And he's like, no, I'm never gonna watch it. This dude literally watches one movie and he's like becomes a full-fledged F1 fan. I'm like, that's cool. Yeah.
F1, I love F1. I love giving like diehard F1 fans. That's a terrible opinion, Junior.
Yeah.
But I love to give like diehard F1 fans like a hard time, just because.
No,
Like,
I'm a diehard F1 fan. You can give me a hard time.
as long as you can combat it. But like, if I
Yes.
catch you stumbling on like your rebuttals, I'm gonna eat you alive. Even though like I don't consider myself to be like super well versed. Like I am
Right.
definitely a casual F1 fan. But yeah, F1 fans are so easy to like pick on.
Right.
Because,
I
like,
feel
for the most
that-
part, they're all either really, really, really nice or they're too pretentious for their own good.
Yeah, I don't know if you're on, you know, that side of Twitter very often, but it's pretty rough. Like, their fans make, you know, Hendrick fans look pretty tame.
I know.
In terms
Yeah.
of arguments and stuff, they're crazy.
Dude, and that's honestly, so I'm a Chase Elliott fan through and through.
Yeah.
I consider myself to be one of the good ones, though.
Right.
I feel like I carry myself pretty well as a Chase Elliott fan. Chase Elliott fans are like mutants, dude. Like it's insane.
Dude, you haven't met Lewis Hamilton fans, and you have no.
Oh no, yeah.
You need to meet some more of them.
Yeah, they're awful too. It's insane. Max
people,
Verstappen
man.
fans, I despise. Because
I feel like Max and Lewis fans kind of just go together, you know, like they're just one and one.
Yeah, but they hate each other, which is the funny thing. Like they despise
Hamilton
each other.
fans hate everybody. I mean, I'm an Alonso fan, and I have been since I was a little kid. So
I've
always had a hard time
wouldn't you
for that.
say that they have like a fair reason to hate you?
I mean, other than I don't think you should hate a guy just because we had a rivalry. Like, so be it, you know.
He tried to sabotage Lewis.
Yeah, because Hamilton broke a team order first. So Alonso's like, you know what?
Make it right.
No, but I think he had to do something about it. Like, I'm not going to let this kid stomp all over me. Like, if this kid wants to mess up my qualifying lap, then I'm going to mess his up.
Alonso has a storied career. I do not disrespect him, but you can't just straight up defend him. What was it? Was it 07? Was it 07?
Yes, you can. Yeah. Hamilton has ignored team orders several times, and nobody gives him any flack for it.
Dude, but Alonso's done it his whole career. Like he's always been like scummy, and you can't.
But ask you this: how many times have all the other like famous champions they've crashed into each other for championships? How many times has Alonso even touched Hamilton on the track? 0. He hasn't touched any driver he's ever raced for a title. Like he's the only big name guy to have never had one of those big coming togethers or just big controversies, other than I will say the Crashgate thing was probably the worst, but that was sort of more done in a boardroom. That wasn't like on track behavior.
This is a lot my view of Formula One. So I try to follow it and I respect it for the technological aspect of it and the pure difficulty of racing Formula One. But like as someone who has like Drew said through stock car and dirt goggles, like the fields are pretty set from qualifying. Like you do see overtakes.
Mostly.
But it's not like if I go to a super stock race and like he used the invert, but like if I know the fast guy is starting 8th, like there's gonna be some shit going down, right? Like that's
the thing with F1. It's like it's a different type of show. Like it's mostly strategy is probably going to determine who wins a race,
right?
There's not as many ways to just get around somebody.
I just hate feeling like I have to have like a certain IQ to be able to enjoy something.
Right. I don't want to be that guy. Like when I tell people to watch F1, like I'm not that way. Like it's a motorsport. If you like motorsports, you'll probably understand it pretty quick.
Your stance is very clear from the fact that you like drinking dollar Rolling Rocks.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. What more do I need to say? No, but I love F1. It's just I think the fans, especially the newer ones, like they hinder the growth for like regular fans of NASCAR who would like to just come over and watch it.
Yes, I don't like the new fans, like the Netflix fans. Yeah. It's annoying because like, the people like us that, they know their stuff, they know their research, they'll come in and just say stuff that makes absolutely no sense. And you're like, I don't even know what you're talking about. I've seen like TikToks saying Lando Norris is the 3rd best McLaren driver of all time. And it's like I don't mind new fans, but like just do your research, man. Like just don't be that guy.
Do you think Max is a top 10 driver already all time?
Oh man, that's a tough one. I think statistically, yeah, but I think, like I said, there's so much into F1. I don't like to use statistics. It's a car-based sport. So I feel like some guys have had more favorable equipment than others. It's just the way things go. Like, do I think Hamilton is the best of the era? Absolutely. But I also think he's been kind of lucky in terms of the cars and everything. I think that, there were a few years where I think Vettel probably could have given him a run in equal equipment. I think Alonso could have probably done it in every year based on, what they did from 2007 to 2015, for example. Every year that they were in equal cars, Alonso was either ahead or he was next to him. So I don't know. But for Max, I think it's a little early for that. I think he's getting favored statistics because, it's an era where there's not a lot of parity. I feel bad for the newer F1 fans because, back in the early 2010s, you might get 3 or 4 teams that are capable of podiums. And then now it's like you only really have Red Bull, Ferrari, and, most of the time it's a Mercedes if one of the other Red Bulls has some sort of issue. So I think statistically, yes, but from an ability standpoint, I think there's a lot of drivers from like the 50s or the 60s that you could put in there. I think even guys without titles like Sterling Moss, or let's just go with the older guys like Fangio or Jim Clark. I think they're in there, but I
So
think in 5 years he's a lock for like the top 10 max.
I am of the opinion that Jim Clark could very well be the greatest
Yes.
racing driver of all time,
I'm
because
on that boat too.
when he died in his crash, all of his competitors said that there had to have been a mechanical failure with the car
he
because
didn't mess
Jim
up.
Clark would not make a mistake.
No, that dude
For
is
that
crazy.
reason
I mean,
alone, the respect from his peers to say, hey, he didn't mess it up, something broke in the car, solidifies him as possibly the greatest racing driver of all time. Him and like Mario Andretti.
Outside of like Andretti, I think, yeah.
I think that's
a category.
I think that's the best part about motorsports is like for general sports, it's really hard to like define eras because it's like the playing styles are different, right?
Right. And of course, yeah.
In the NFL, like you could say, well, defenses were, unstoppable in the 80s. Like if you ran a certain type of defense, like you were A-okay.
Yeah.
Baseball, same thing. Basketball, same thing. You could argue Wilt was really talented, but Wilt was also playing against like 5'6" plumbers, So with motorsports, the beautiful thing about it is that the cars are so much more different in each like era, where I think you can really define guys, because you cannot say, well, Lewis won more championships than this guy or that guy, so he is clearly better. Because, I mean, if you would have put like a Jim Clark in a 2012 Mercedes ride, like how much success is he going to have?
Dude, it's crazy. Everybody says, that's why I've always been on that train of Jim Clark, especially because when he had those good cars, his strike rate was pretty ridiculous. And you look at back then, the reliability was terrible. Like you were probably not going to finish half the races you entered. And out of the 49 times he finished a race, he won 25 of them. So like he's already, just from that sample size, his percentage of winning is better than like a Lewis Hamilton. And Hamilton's probably had the most bulletproof, like unlikely to break down cars on the planet. So I think if you can infer that, give him a bigger sample size, then his percentage is probably still the same.
I love the statistics thing behind all of that.
And that's the thing for me. I don't like to go in just looking at stats without context. Like you gotta have context with that. You can't just say that, oh well, let's just say that Vettel's better than Alonso because he's got more wins. It's like, no. It's like you got to remember, it's like they're all driving different cars. They're all in different situations.
While you talk about Alonso, it's so funny because you're a diehard Denny Hamlin fan too, and they are literally like the same person of their sport.
I feel like Alonso's a lot like he's way higher. Like I don't think Hamlin has like a top 5 all-time case like you could for Alonso.
I'm talking personality.
They're somewhat similar, but I think
I think spicy granola.
I don't know. If you ever watched F1 back in the 2010s, like Alonso, he was a cocky guy. Like he was straight up just like he would, and they asked him about Vettel's like, hey, he won 4 titles. Do you think he's on the same level as Prost? And he's like, no, absolutely not. He said something like, I don't even think he's on Lewis's level. And he said something like, you're going to see it when he doesn't have the best car that, Hamilton and myself are better.
You're telling me that's not like a Denny Hamlin quote?
He's not as like he kind of seems reserved. Like he doesn't even rank himself. When they asked him yesterday, it's like, hey, what's your top?
Denny's calmed down a lot this year as far as like the attitude, but I think that Denny because when I was really young, like his rookie year and stuff, I immediately liked Denny Hamlin because I was like, this dude is good. And then from like 2011 to like I'll say 2020. I hated him, dude. Just absolutely despised everything about him because I just felt like he was a cocky prick.
I mean, I feel like that gets put on him a lot because he's a quieter guy. He doesn't really talk much. He's not like a down to earth guy. He's kind of just, he doesn't speak. He's like, I just show up. I'm going to win. So what? He doesn't have doesn't have like an appeal to him. That's like, oh man, I really want to go talk to that guy.
That's your short track racing.
Like, so I had a really good comment. So who do you guys think is the best personality in NASCAR history other than Dale Earnhardt
Of all time?
Oh man.
of all time. Because if your answer is not Shane Meal, your answer is fucking wrong.
No, I don't like Shane Meal. I got beef with him. Like that
What's your beef
dude.
with Shane Meal? Like,
Like,
granted,
this
the
dude
dude's
was
a prick.
hyping up Christopher Bell back in like 2017. He's like, he was calling Hamlin a bunch of names. Like, I get him out of that car. He's a waste of seat. He's
Tell
like,
me that's not
talking
the
about him with
greatest
fake
personality in
teeth, and it's
NASCAR
like,
history if he was still driving.
well, there is a never
Like,
mind.
he would make
I'm
Kyle
not that
Busch
way,
look
but-
like Kyle Larson.
I mean, I'll say like he was crazy, like
He was
almost
nuts.
to his detriment.
To his detriment. Yeah.
Yeah,
he did
like I
fucking
forgot
coke.
about the whole
Like,
like substance thing and all that.
yeah.
Honestly, so for me, my answer genuinely is going to be Jimmy Spencer or Kenny Wallace.
Jimmy
Kenny
Spencer's
Schrader's up there too. Like he just seems like a good time.
He's so nice though. Like that's the thing. Like when I'm thinking like
almost too
personalities, yeah. I want somebody who's like just nitty gritty, like tells it like it is. And Jimmy Spencer and Kenny Wallace, I feel like are those guys.
I think for this one, I'm gonna go with Kurt Busch because he's almost like an entire, like he represents an entire like lifespan of emotions. Like he
Yeah.
was, he
There
was
needs to
crazy
be
at
a
one point. He
movie
was
about
fun,
Kurt Busch.
and now he's like the good guy. So it's like you're thinking about all that. Like he pretty much has everything in one.
we got 2 votes for Tony Stewart right now.
That's true. That's true.
Shane, so put what Nate said about Shane Meal, about him calling out Denny and calling a bunch of names. Put that in the perspective of if he was an active Cup driver, because he probably still would be had the substance abuse thing not happened.
Mhm.
That dude would be in the headlines every single week for saying or doing
I'm
some
sure he
really
would.
dumb shit.
Do you think that's a
I'm
good
sure
thing
he
or a
would.
bad thing?
Both. I
All
think
publicity is good publicity.
to an extent, yes. I
Right.
think that he would have had beef with Smoke. He would have had beef with every single guy in the fucking garage. Like, of all the biggest what ifs, Shane Meal is the biggest what if. Because at very least, he would have sold some damn t-shirts.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that like we've forgotten in the sport is like the importance of personality. Right? Because like nobody really like attaches and associates with their sponsor the way that they used to.
Right.
I mean, when I see M&Ms, like I do think of Kyle Busch immediately, which is going to be weird going forward. When I think of Lowe's, I think of Jimmy Johnson. When I think of Office Depot, I think of Tony Stewart. Yeah, Home Depot, Tony Stewart. We don't have that anymore, and I think that was in part due to the personalities that like represented these companies.
Yeah.
Yeah, it all depends. Like I would probably be hated as a NASCAR driver because I'm kind of low key. I don't really get overly emotional in front of a camera, so I would probably be hated. That's for sure. Like I know I'd be hated.
Yeah, that's a good point. Steve Park was a really fucking good one.
Yeah. Jeremy Mayfield was incredible.
Jeremy Mayfield was, when I was a little kid, like I rooted, before I really had a grasp on drivers, like I rooted for like Jeremy Mayfield and Ricky Rudd. Like those were my two.
I was a Ricky
guys.
Rudd kid. Yeah.
Yeah. I really liked Ricky Rudd, and then I grew up.
Yeah, and you realize the Rooster maybe wasn't as great as you thought he was.
He was consistent, but he kind of sucked. But
Yeah.
that's all right,
Right,
Yeah,
because
there's a
his
lot of-
personality, like
Right,
it's just
I
those
think-
guys made up for it.
There's a lot more fans, I think, in NASCAR than other motorsports that literally just like a dude because they can relate to them.
Right.
Like I've
So
like
am I.
how many people like you see a bunch of Cody Ware fans on Twitter. He might be a backmarker, but people love him because he watches anime. And you look at F1, how many Nicholas Latifi fans are there? There's like none.
Yeah.
Like most of the fans in other motorsports gravitate towards like success, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I feel like it's kind of a different thing over here.
Yeah, I mean Cody Ware is a super cool guy, honestly, overall. Big anime guy, and he's also very outspoken about mental health, which I think is like such a big barrier to try to break down in NASCAR. Dude,
it's a
I
tough
don't
thing
need
for
no,
sports for sure.
I do not need a translator for Ward Burton. I wish Ward Burton was in the booth. Dude, it would make me so happy.
Have you heard the cat front end loader sits?
Yeah, I heard that.
Commercial. Oh
Dude,
man,
everything,
That is
yeah, pure, yeah. I love Ward. I don't know that I love his son so much, but I love Ward.
yeah. Jeb's kind of a prick. I'm saying all this stuff like I'm sure they're all really cool guys, but like,
Am I allowed to drop an F-bomb on here, or is that frowned
Yeah.
upon? Okay. Oh, nice. When he said, "I'll wreck the dog fuck out of you,"
What is like? Is that a Ward?
dude?
Burton
I
quote
love
right
that.
there?
Yeah, I
Like, he
immediately
had to
put
learn that
that
from
in
his
my
dad.
bank. Yeah, had to have. Had to have.
I hope that I don't ever have to do interviews and then someone bring up the fact that I said Jeb Burton's kind of a prick.
It happens.
Yeah.
I mean, and I feel like he'd be one of the guys who like didn't get offended by it.
I don't know. He just got like super pissed off at Noah a couple weeks ago for racing him hard.
But you have to also, in that regard, talking about old news, like Noah kind of stole his spot in a sense, right?
That's fair.
I mean,
Yeah.
so like, of course, I hate the
He's
fact
a
that he.
Yeah.
I would have respected Jeb throughout that whole like dialogue had he not said that he performed better than Noah in the same equipment, because that was immediately
That
just,
was
like,
proven
debunked.
immediately wrong.
Yeah. Like it wasn't even close to having an argument there.
Yeah.
That was not.
That's fair. Talking on shitting on drivers, I used to be a huge Noah Gragson hater. Like I was
too. I
used
I
to hate him.
was in that boat for quite a
Yeah,
long time.
until like the start of 2021, like not even that, like mid 2021, I really started to come around. Now he's probably one of my favorites. Like honestly, like the dude races like a prick and then talks like a prick to back it up. It's like
Yeah, and I
full
mean,
respect.
but at the same time, it's not even that he's racing like a jerk. Like he is just racing to win. Like he doesn't go above and beyond the way that a Kyle Busch would just to end
Ty
someone's
Gibbs is
day.
like the example of like just racing downright dirty.
Right.
Like he
But he
just goes
wins.
extra. He doesn't have to do that stuff.
But he wins.
Well, yeah,
I'm
he
all
wins,
for
but
the Noah Ty Gibbs beef.
yes,
that we
I'm
got.
Dude,
Team
it needs-
Gragson
yeah.
100% on that feud.
Yeah, that
Like-
I think that the Noah and Ty beef is what we need, but I think the one that we're gonna get long term is gonna be Sam and Ty. I think that's gonna be like the beef of NASCAR's future.
Oh, this is a cool comment from Drew. He actually mentioned that Noah DM'd him on Reddit after a comment from years ago.
So Noah is about it. Like
Yeah.
Noah, he's about it. Like
He's
that's what I
very
would rather.
interactive. He just seems like an interesting guy.
Yeah,
I
he was
don't-
actually the first driver that we ever got on our show.
really.
Really?
Yep.
I am really hoping that I get to meet Noah Gragson at Atlanta because I want to recreate the 79 Daytona 500 fight picture with Noah. So I want him to like lock my leg in one arm and like have his fucking fist cocked at me while I'm like doing the whole Cale Yarborough thing.
Oh, that'd be incredible.
I'd fucking love that. Like he's got his helmet on. Like fuck. Oh, that would be awesome. Said he was super chill about it. Like, hey, what's up? Like, yeah, Noah's about it. Catch
Now-
these hands.
As a fan, would you ever like degrade a driver strictly as a fan, like to their face? And I have a funny story to back it up.
It would depend on who the driver was, right?
Yeah.
'Cause when I look, so probably no. In the NASCAR level, on a local level, I have done it, and I will continue to do it.
Okay.
You know,
I feel like I don't have enough beef with any of the higher level drivers to do that. I mean, I don't like certain drivers. I don't like Logano or whatever, but I would never say like, yeah, you suck. You know, like he
Yeah.
doesn't suck. I just don't like him.
but like I have almost been in several fights at my local track because some dude will win, and I think he did something dirty during the race, or I just don't like the dude, and I will go up to the catch fence under the flag stand and give him the finger and call him a bitch.
Okay.
So, like, on a local level, yeah, I'm not fucking scared. But, like, on a NASCAR level, I probably wouldn't just because of the position they're in. And, like, I still respect them because they are a NASCAR driver, you know. And if it ever leaks out, like, how many people are going to be on my side? Fucking none,
Right.
you know.
So many years ago, I could say this grocery store, and everybody will know it just by default, but Food City. That is a local grocery store chain, and they're also the ones who sponsor the Bristol races. But
Yeah.
they're only like in the Tennessee, Kentucky, Virginia area. So they would always do this thing, and it was called like the Food City Family Race Night. And every driver would come, and like it would be in the grocery store, and the place would be packed. Like you're getting to meet your drivers and whatnot. And a very young Jeff Gordon, he was probably a couple years in, had came, and him and my mom share maiden names. Like that is my mother's maiden last name is Gordon. So there was a family member that worked there that was talking to Jeff, and it was one of those like, oh, we have the same last name, ha 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 ha. And he like found my mom in the store, and he was like, come over here and talk to him. And like she walked over and he was like, "This is Jeff Gordon." And Mom was like, "I know who he is." And he was like, "He's got the same last name." And she's like, "That's fine. He's still an asshole just the same." And then just walks away. Just walks away.
That's great. I once met 9 Inch Nails at a Denny's, drunk as shit at like 1 a.m. And
shout out Trent one time.
Yeah, so fucking my buddy pointed him out, and I was like, "No, it's not," and like walked up to their table. I was like, "Hey, are you guys 9 Inch Nails?" And then so I have no idea. I know who Trent Reznor is. I couldn't tell you any band member. I couldn't name a song, anything. And one of them looked up at me and was like, "Yeah, you want an autograph?" I was like, "No," and just like walked away.
See, I couldn't imagine, dude. What
that's
Trent
one of my
has done for
greatest
the music
stories of all
industry? Yeah, that's automatically that makes you cool.
At the time, I had no idea. To this day, I don't know any of their songs. I know who Trent Reznor is, but like at the time, I was like, I'd heard of him, but like,
dude, he composed Black Ops soundtrack.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as like where like really boils down, like incredible musical legacy that he's put down. I am in no way a 9 Inch Nails fan, but like the dude is just a genius. 9 Inch Nails, they home contractors. But I mean, iconic group. That's a pretty badass story. That makes you 10 times cooler than you already were. The fact that you were just like, no.
Yeah. So I told my buddy that, and he's like really into their music. He's like, "I bet you are Trent Reznor's favorite fan."
Probably. Like he probably still talks about this time this drunk kid walked up to him and didn't want an autograph. He just wanted to confirm.
Yeah.
And that's a big personal rule that I actually have. Anytime, like in a kind of public setting that I've ever seen someone who is famous, I like will acknowledge it in some way, like, "Hey, I'm a big fan," and just leave it at that. Because I can only imagine like going to Walmart and just getting mobbed, like just trying to buy some like laundry detergent.
Yeah. Yeah. Going out to eat. Right. And then having to sign autographs and shit. Like that was
I also have the opinion that like nobody made you get famous. Like you chose it on your own. So like I don't think you can ever be sideways in public. And I know everybody has their days, but I don't think that like if you put yourself in a public position that you could just be a jerk because people are wanting to come up and talk to you for being famous because you put yourself in the public light.
Right, exactly. You benefit from it still, you know.
Yeah, because like if you sign someone's autograph, like they're gonna go and buy your CD the next day.
Right. Yeah.
So
yeah. Oh boy, I gotta get on this guy.
Nate is gonna tear this comment to shreds.
Well, look. I'm just gonna look at it from a logical standpoint. Like, okay, for the first point, I don't agree with team orders, but to act like they don't happen in other motorsports is just crazy. Like, if you don't think they happen in NASCAR, I have no idea what rot your head's under, but like you gotta wake up. Because
remember that time that Eric Jones wouldn't pass Denny, and
that was up there.
Yeah,
we had the Coke 0400 that year. When Byron won, he got the lead, and there was a chance that he get run down and passed by a couple other cars. And Elliott was radioed, "Stay with your teammate, stay with your teammate," and he never tried anything. I mean, there's numerous examples of obviously the plate tracks. There's been times where teams will even radio, like Penske at Richmond when the Spingate thing went down. It kind of got brushed under the rug, but they radioed Front Row Motorsports. They're like, "Hey, can you guys give us a couple spots here? Like, we need to get the 22 in the chase." So I do feel like I don't like team orders. Again, like as much as I love F1, I don't like team orders. But I don't believe that I don't believe that you can single only them out for it because it's everywhere. It's just a rampant problem. Second point, I'm not really going to refute that. I mean, they're pretty bad. Like I love F1, but I don't consider myself one of those fans. Like I'm not one of those people. There's like Netflix fans, and then there's racing fans. Like I'm just a racing fan. Like I've been here before Netflix. I'm just here to talk about racing. I'm not here to talk about oh well, I just like this driver because I think he looks good. I'm not that kind of guy. So 3. Oh yeah, this is a tough one. I mean, how many times did Kyle Larson win last year? And you're talking about the same people winning all over and over.
So let me defend Joe in this one though.
Okay.
He grew up watching NASCAR, fell out of it, and then got back into it this season.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so you missed out on a lot of stuff.
Like the big three.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm like, yeah, Kyle Larson last year he won quite a bit, and
Yeah. 2018 was
there
ridiculous.
was 2008 was especially a big one. I think three
Yeah.
guys won like 25 races.
So, if you are done dissecting that one,
yes, I will get off my soapbox.
Drew and I get along well because he said last year at Nashville, Ryan Preece was staying in his hotel. The Saturday after he won the truck race, ran into him coming into the door with dinner, and Drew was like, "Oh, hey, congrats on the win!" And it looked like Preece was ready for a conversation or autograph, but Drew just like held the door for him and was like, "Here, go
Yeah,
inside."
I get that. I respect that because I feel like I've been tempted to go up and pester a driver at times, but I know that it's their free time. I remember I ran into Chris Gabehart in a Chick-fil-A a couple years ago, and I was like, man, I really want to go up and say something to him, but he's talking with his team about something. So when I finished eating and he finished eating, I held the door for him. I was like, hey, man, I know who you are, and good luck this week. I didn't really just go up and bother him because I don't want to be that fan that just invades on a driver, if you will, but I don't want to just not say anything either.
So I have a kind of a weird opinion on it. I'm really big on letting the drivers no matter driver, musician, actor, whatever, let them have their free time. But I think if we were to normalize never interrupting them, think about the younger guys, right? Think about a Ty Gibbs, for instance. If he never experiences out in public because everybody has that same mindset, when he's 35 and somebody walks up to him in public, he's not going to know how to react.
No, he's not.
So at the same time, I think it's great to give them their freedom and their space, but also I feel like it's good for them to experience the fan interaction side of everything, because for the last few years we've really not had that much in NASCAR.
Right. Yeah.
It depends on where you interact with them too. If I'm at the track and I see somebody, I'm like, hey, can I get a picture real quick? But if I'm in an airport and I run into somebody, I'm not just gonna get up in their face, give me this picture right now. I need autographs, need pictures. Just be like, hey, good luck next week.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
If they initiate a conversation, then maybe I'll ask them for a picture. But
that's also the most stressful place you could run into somebody is an airport.
Yes, but I mean, there's stories people run into them all the time in airports. So,
people camp out.
Yeah.
They figure out what flights they're coming in on or what flight they're taking out. People just stand there.
F1 drivers can get ambushed in airports, and it's I don't know if they would necessarily appreciate that, but for the most part, they seem cordial about it. They're not they're not running away from people.
Right. It is their job still though. Fan appreciation is that's a big part of the job.
Yeah, there was some dude that ran into guys on the street or whatever, and there was a post last week. Someone ran into Alonso on the street, and they just took a picture of him, but they didn't go up to him and interact. And that is a little bit weird because I feel like if I'm a person, a notable person, and I see somebody just taking a picture behind me and walking away, I'd be a little weirded out. It's dude, just come up and say something to me,
Yeah. Yeah. Say to my face.
I'm not a zoo attraction,
You guys know who Dave Ramsey is?
Yeah.
I am pretty sure I saw him in the airport at Washington, D.C. And I did that.
Did he help you save any money?
He had his Tennessee Vols hat on. Looked exactly like him. Same size, same stature, everything. Glasses. It was Dave Ramsey, right? I walked up to him, was like, hey, are you Dave Ramsey? And he no. In his little Tennessee accent. I was like, you fucking liar.
Yeah. You are.
I know it was. It had to have fucking been. Or it was just some Tennessee Vols guy who looked exactly like him.
So, I mean, in all fairness, though, Dave Ramsey is one of the most generic builds of a Tennessee man.
Yeah, I mean, there's stories to Tony Stewart. Speaking of faking and everything, he would enter dirt races under fake names all the time.
So Madison Bumgarner does that, except he enters rodeos.
Interesting.
So, yeah. Yeah, this big old pitcher from the San Francisco Giants rodeos under an alias, and he actually wins a few of them. He's a really good.
I think Kimi Räikkönen entered snowmobile races under the nickname James Hunt.
Hell yeah!
So
I will say that's kind of a cowardice move on Tony's behalf, though.
Yeah, I will say.
Because like because you're like lightening up your competition, right? Like if people know Tony's coming, then like the bigger names are gonna be like, yeah, let's make that trip. I mean, for the most part, yeah, I would agree with that, Mark. I'm not a Vol fan in the least bit.
At Dalton Good.
Yeah, we're gonna find him.
Okay, well, this is a good episode. I'm gonna go eat some dinner. I'm gonna go eat some tacos, actually, Cody.
That's real. That's authentic Mexican for me.
Yeah,
so.
some chicken tacos and a corn tortilla. With
See, you lose me. It's crunchy shell or
beans. Yeah, beans and cilantro. It's gonna be fucking dank.
Meat and cheddar cheese is all you need on a taco.
Man, you would love it out here.
Would I?
So because like we have Taco John's fucking everywhere. They're headquartered and started in Cheyenne, and they have West Mex, which is literally just like, white people tacos.
Yeah, that's literally meat
from the grocery store, and like cheese and lettuce from the grocery store. Like it's awesome. Good farts. Yeah. Alrighty. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for all the comments.
Yeah, that was fun. There was a lot of engagement.
I have to think about which driver farts the most now. Other than that,
and go Carl. I forgot about that.
I do want to make an announcement because it is coming up within the next month. Cody, you have been let in on the secret. But Fanfuel Motorsports will be doing a live 36-hour stream the weekend after the Atlanta race, the weekend of the New Hampshire race. So we'll be going from Friday night to Sunday morning, live streaming the entire thing. It's going to be split up. No one is going to be on for 36 hours straight.
Yeah, like I have to have my stints.
I will have a full schedule released here soon-ish in the next couple weeks. We're going to have games. We're going to meet some significant others. We're going to do just rabbit holes and just complete off-the-wall topics. It's going to be a good time. It is going to be a long time.
What if somebody wanted to do all 36 hours?
Power to them.
We will take applications.
Yeah,
but
I'll send mine in. I think I could. I genuinely think I could do it.
Gonna be the trivia stint. Like I want to get on that.
Yeah, so we'll be doing trivia. I have a Wikipedia game that I'm really excited to play. So I'll give you a random Wikipedia article, like it could be, the Great Wall of China or something like that. And you have to
I might be down for that too.
In Wikipedia to try to get to Dale Earnhardt as quick as possible.
I used to do that all the time, like stuff like that for fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So I
go down rabbit holes Wikipedia all the time because I'm like a stat guy, and whenever I just search up a driver's name, like I'll just click a name, click a series, and then all of a sudden I'm looking at the 2005 Formula Euro Open. I'm like, what?
Yeah, the 1988 underarm bowling incident.
Yeah, same. I'm that same way. Like I'm looking at praying mantises within an hour if you leave me on Wikipedia unsupervised.
Yeah. Like I can tell you like the life cycle of them.
Yeah. Cheyenne will be like, "What are you reading?" I'm like, "I'm reading about the history of Subway." Like,
air disasters.
I don't know. I researched Survivor and I went down way too far. Like,
that's the way it goes. I think for the trivia, I think whoever's wanting to play the trivia has to be on X amount of time before, and it needs to go for a little while. That way, by the time it gets to the trivia portion, everybody's just like tired and ready to be like done.
So like we can't name like NASCAR facts when we're like on a fresh, when we're fresh, we're ready.
Right? Yeah. I need you like just staring at the screen for 5 minutes before you even process.
Yeah.
The Dime Beer Night that the Cleveland Indians put on. That's a great one. So I will have an itinerary and a schedule put out. If you guys would like to be a part of this show, please DM us on Twitter, Facebook. Reach out to us on our email at fanfuelpodcast@gmail.com. We will try to squeeze everyone in there that we can. I think I have slots open for at least 36 guests. And that's split up over all 36 hours, different time frames and whatnot. We need people to fill them wee hours of the morning, that 2, 3, 4 a.m. slots. Cody, if you're down to do all 36, maybe I'll try it too. I'm not going to guarantee.
Yeah, but it's 12 hours in, we're both back. What if somebody wanted to ask on Discord? Do you guys have a Discord?
We do. I'm going to be honest. I'm not very active on there. I'm actually more active on the Left Turn Cult Discord.
Oh, okay.
So big hype there. We do have a Discord. I can post out all the information for that as well. But honestly, the Left Turn Cult Discord is the easiest way to get ahead of me if you must go Discord. So props to Cody for creating an awesome Discord there.
Hey, thanks. It's been fun.
But yeah, DM us on Twitter, Facebook, the email fanfuelpodcast@gmail.com. We will get you guys on, or at least do our absolute best to. I'll have a full itinerary of all the events and whatnot that we will be doing, and then a schedule as well, so you guys can keep track. There will be a prize for the person who listens to the most of that 36-hour stream, and I still got to figure out how we're going to do that exactly. But if someone listens to, say, 24 hours of that 36 hours, they deserve fucking something.
I agree. Yeah, that is dedication.
Yeah. So we'll be doing that. I don't know what the prizes are going to be yet, but we will send something out to you. So keep an eye out for that. We are going to be making more announcements as it comes closer. Again, it is the weekend of the New Hampshire Cup race, which would put us July. It's going to be July 15th through the 17th. So 36 straight hours.
Sheesh.
Yeah, it's going to be a long one, but it's going to be good. This is our NAS Christmas in July. So it'll be a good time. And then be sure to keep around till December when we do actual NAS Christmas
part 2.
Yeah. Other than that, this is a great episode. Cody, thank you for coming on again. You helped breathe some life into it because Nate and I do not do enough preparation, and then Nate is.
Yeah, we were kind of just going back and forth, right? So we would just be like, "Yeah, what do you think about that? What do you think?"
I'm really good about just like creating conversation from nothing. That is like my one true talent in life. Like I could talk about.
I don't know how we went on like a 10-minute tangent about NASCAR personalities because you mentioned one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm good at it, but I haven't had enough beers to be good at it yet.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah, so please check us out. Follow us on Twitter at FanfuelMSM, capital F, capital F, capital MSM. Go like us on Facebook. Keep an eye out for more of these notes. And check out Left Turn Cult because Cody does such a great job with that.
Wow, thanks.
Yeah, I'm all about the plugs tonight. I still got to get on your show. We need to figure out a time for that.
And one last plug. Follow the Instagram because we're trying to get
more. Follow the Instagram. Yeah, Nate's been working hard on that. Nate, what's that Instagram handle?
It's at FanFuel. Let me see. Yeah, it's FanFuel MSM.
Okay, so on Instagram, we've been really trying to grow
same
that.
as Twitter.
Nate has really been trying to grow that. So we appreciate it.
I left that alone for like 2 months until the other day, and I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
So,
but all right, thank you guys for listening. I'll see you next week.